Hey guys, King of Charmass here. Today, I will be a judge, your jury, and your analyst, and I'd like to wish all of you a happy 2022. I am hoping all of you had a wonderful 2021 kind of, well, hopefully it was good for you. It was, yeah. Onward to the 2022. So, I hope you all had a wonderful 2021. Hopefully, coming up to you had a wonderful time with your friends and your family. If you are traveling, you made it to your required destination. If you made it back home, hopefully you made it back home safely. And hopefully, everyone does not have coronavirus. Just putting that out there. Because one of my wrestling kids tested positive. I was like, oh, crap. So, I have test kits at home. I always keep emergency test kits just in case, like at least 4 of them. So, I did a quick test real quick, showed coach, and I was like, I'm negative. So, I was like, all right, cool. I mean, it's okay, but then it's like, oh. Well, she wasn't with us. She's at home because of the holidays, but then they let us know, and then we're like, oh, okay. But it's what it is. But hopefully you're all well. Hopefully she's doing well. I'll figure out more about it, like, next week. Like, I'm going to ask coach and be like, hey, how's she doing? And I'm like, okay. But with that being said, this isn't even a, mental health tip for the day for 2022. It's start of a new year. So, there's always a better tomorrow. Or rather, things centered around hope. So, when you are depressed, or if you have major depressive disorder, which I actually have, but I have it, but it's in remission. So, remission basically means it's still there, but it's not, like, there anymore. Or you're not, like, suffering from the symptoms. That's basically what remission. It's like cancer. When your cancer is in remission, you don't really see too many of the symptoms, or it starts to go away, and eventually become cancer-free. Sadly, with MDD, clinical depression, it doesn't really go away. It's still there because you're still susceptible to it. All of us are susceptible to clinical depression, sadly. But it's what it is. So mine is in remission. But to do that, there is always hope. So 2022 is a new hope. So make your plans, make your resolutions, and always remember, as long as you are breathing and there's another tomorrow, there is another day. I'm pretty sure that's like one tip somewhere from some therapist out there. But from this future, like, solutions-focused clinician, yes, have hope, and there will be more hope for the next year. Unless it's Master League Classic, which we just don't have hope at all. So this is a video on the top 5 teams for Master League Classic. These are, by tested, by performance, the most powerful teams in Master League Classic. And literally, almost none of them have changed. No, seriously, if you look at the, like, data, it's like, remember I told you about Zacian? Yeah. Stupid Zacian. And Master League Classic is just one of the stalest meta. It's probably the most stale meta of all time. Subject to change by, like, really minimum changes. Like, oh my. You know, I don't know why people like Freelo, just for. When the crowned version comes out, like, Master League will essentially be, like, unplayable just because Crown Zacian is just so godforsakingly overpowered. So if you thought this version was bad, wait for the other one. So, I mean, I'll probably raid for the other one because it's that dang good. So, just putting it out there. Anyways, these are the top 5 teams, and let's get started. Alright, so to access this menu, as you see here, all you do is go to pvpoke.com, and as I always say, please consider contributing to pvpoke.com. You can use this tab right here. And then all you do is put your mouse over here, it goes over, you'll see a tab called Top Performers pop out. Click on Top Performers, go to Master League Classic, and boom! In January 1st, 2022, Master League Classic has been updated. And sadly, all we can play right now is Master League. Open Master League, level 50, the Death Gauntlet, the Coliseum 300. If you watch that movie, it's very, very bloody, but dang, everyone there is hella jacked. Just saying. Like, no, seriously, 300 is it's a pretty dang cool movie. Also, pretty historical, and King Leonidas is just a freaking boss. Anyways, for 2022, unfortunately, until January 10th, we cannot play anything but Master League. So, if you scroll down, and we go down here, as you see, these are the top 5 teams. Not many changes at all. Seriously, even though Zarude is on the top team, it's really not spicy. This is coming from the Hydreigon guy. It's really not spicy. It's a top 11 freaking mon. If you go to the rankings, as you see here, yeah, I had this on speed dial. Zarude is good. It's good because it beats Mewtwo, Giratina Origins, as well as Kyogre and Groudon. So it's kind of the meta to the anti-meta to the meta, despite the fact that it's also kind of meta. Yeah, Yeah, it's what it is. But we're not analyzing that one. We're analyzing Team 5 first. And Team 5 features Zacian, Dialga, and Palkia. This is an ABB team. No, seriously, it's someone that put an ABB team together. Double Dragon Breath with Zacian. Hopefully you do not see Togekiss in the back, because Togekiss in the back against Palkia would really freaking suck. As you see here for number 5, this team has been used, well, an individual. If it's orange, as you see here, a small sample size may be the result of an individual player. So, right here. But it has a 569 rating. So, the best rating out of everything on this list, because these two digits are absolutely amazing. 569. And, like, goated. Absolutely goated. So, yes. Anyways, enough about King of Charmander 69 references. As you see here, your safe switch for this team is Dialga. Dialga is still a very powerful safe switch because it's obscenely overpowered. No, seriously. Best buddy Dialga at level 41 is incredibly overpowered, and it's still overpowered to this day. So, if you rated hard for one and you managed to get a Shundo, I'm jealous. However, no, seriously, when Dialga came back, everybody got a freaking Shundo. Your grandmother got a Shundo, your mom got a Shundo, your cousin, your aunt, your nephew, your nieces, and then your relative from the other side of the world on the UK or however they lived, they got a freaking Shundo too. Freaking ridiculous, man. Man, I wish I got one, but I didn't rate that hard for it because I've actually never climbed using Dialga. I still don't have a Hundo Dialga to this day, and I'm like, yeah, because freaking Dialga. Anyways, Dialga is your safe switch. Palkia will close out, or Zacian. Zacian's job is to break shields or just wins the lead outright. This one uses the close combat wild charge variation. You do not have play rough. So, what's bad about Zacian in the lead without play rough is that you kind of lose against Giratina, or you don't really threaten Giratina that hard. If you lose the lead, or if you see a Giratina switch out to Dialga right away, or you can try to finesse your opponent into thinking that you do have play rough to break a shield. So you see, amazing coverage, great across the board, great ratings otherwise across the board. This is usually what happens in Master League. Nothing really changes that much. Really strong. Well, Zacian is just like baller against pretty much the entire meta. Close combat and wild charge is a very great coverage, even if you use play rough. As you see, nothing really beats this team overall. Mewtwo does beat Zacian Hero in the 2 shields. However, you can threaten pretty hard with Wild Charge, because Wild Charge will do big damage and put Mewtwo in either the yellow or probably in the yellow. If you have a great IV Mewtwo, it'll probably put it in the yellow after one shot. So your opponents most likely will be able to shield. A lot of plays Zacian users are using, it's just basically like Frostless 2 shield strat. No, seriously, that's what it is. Frostless 2 shield. Or it's like the Shiftry 2 shield. Except it's incredibly overpowered because Fairy is an overpowered typing with not many weaknesses other than Steel. So if you probably wonder why there's a bunch of 4-legged Albatrosses or Fortresses called Metagross running around, it's because of freaking Zacian. Overall, very good team. 597. Low on the threat score ladder. Well, you're using 3 super Metamon, so this isn't spicy at all. This is an ABB team featuring the most powerful dragon, the water dragon, and Dogecoin. You know, for those of you that invested in Dogecoin, you're at. Anyways, on to the next team. All right, and for the team number 4, we have. Wait, hold on. I'm looking at. Okay, Palkia, Metagross, and Zacian. So this one's really well. This is basically using Zacian as a safe switch. The reason why Zacian can function as a safe switch is because when you switch out, you break your opponent's shields, and then you leave shields for Palkia or Metagross, or your opponent just doesn't have an answer to Zacian. A lot of people were using this team at a 0.5 rating. So 0.5, even though it's not an individual rating, more than one person is using it. So as you see, this one uses Dragon Tail Palkia instead of Dragon Breath. So team number 5 was using double Dragon Breath. This one's using Palkia with Dragon Tail. Dragon Tail Palkia is incredibly powerful, especially if you're able to sneak fast moves or Dragon Tails through charge moves, etc. Because fast moves are just super broken right now. Or just the system in general. When the fast move system is broken, that means it jacks everything up because charge moves and everything else you think is supposed to work just doesn't work. So this features Zacian as your safe switch. You'll break shields with the dog, except this uses close combat and play rough, which isn't necessarily bad, but it's just there to get that coverage because when you switch out a Palkia, you're usually gonna get you're probably gonna get gear like Dialga or something. Not Dialga, because you wouldn't switch a Dialga into you. Whatever isn't a Steel type or Dragon type is gonna get switched into Zacian, break shields, etc., and then close out with Metagross and Palkia. If you line up their Zacian against your Metagross, Metagross goes to town with Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash. Same rating as the previous team. Like I mentioned, a lot of Master League teams are going to have amazing coverage and great grades across the board. Most of them, at least. Overall, very good against the meta because you're using super meta. And as you see, a low threat score of 596. There's nothing that really breaks this entire team, which is really good. Other than what threatens Palkia. Palkia would be threatened basically by anything that resists it. Of course, Togekiss leads. You might have a little trouble. Well, you won't have a lot of trouble against Togekiss just because Zacian Hero still has Play Rough. And then you can line up the Togekiss against Metagross. Remember, it takes, I think, like, what, 9 charms to get to a flamethrower? So, like, it's going to take a mad long time unless the Togekiss boosts to be able to take out Metagross. So, Metagross has a very strong matchup against the Fairy type typing in Master League. You can farm down. You can essentially, like, farm down or get to the point to where you can go overcharge a little bit over Meteor Mash, fire it off, win CMP, and Metagross is just an incredibly strong Mon. It's always been strong, so I'm not going to call it anti-meta because it is meta. If you're using a meta Pokemon and you're saying it's anti-meta because everyone else is using it, you're still using meta. So it's not really anti-meta. It's meta. Like, yeah. I don't get what people's like, this is like, I see some videos on like YouTube, I'm just like, strong anti-meta team. What are you using? Meta against meta. And I'm like, no. Like, for real, no. Like, no. No, we're not, our system is not that cool, okay? Again, low threat score, you lose the lead with Poké, you say switch into Zacian, break shields, Poké, and Metagross line up to destroy your opponent. Ideally, you would like either Togekiss or Zacian to be in the back so Metagross can take it out, because Metagross has a very strong matchup against, like I mentioned, the Fairy types. And for team number 3, we have Ho, Zacian, and Zekrom. Didn't I put Mewtwo instead of Zacian? And then yeah, well, I hate it when I'm right. Well, not hate it when I'm right. So for those of you that watched my top 5 teams, I put Ho and Zekrom together and then just put something in the middle. This just features Zacian. So again, Zacian safe switch, breaking it's safe switch, and then you break shields. Or what people mostly will do is that if you safe switch as Zacian, they'll just throw their Metagross into you. But with Snarl generating so much energy, you can still do a lot of damage to Metagross and then try to close out. So, very strong team. Of course, it's strong. You have freaking Zacian in it. And Ho is a great lead because of its ability to get to its moves quickly. Incinerate is really busted right now. It's really, really broken because of... Not broken isn't bad, but it's broken because it's good. Because a lot of times what will happen, when you see the lag that goes on, a lot of times you'll get an extra Incinerate in. And the math just won't add up. I've had games where someone's back-to-back Brave Bird me, and that's impossible because Brave Bird has 55 energy. You can only have 100 energy. So somehow, my opponent is getting 2 back-to-back Brave Birds at 110 energy. And I don't know where the heck it's coming from, unfortunately. So, Incinerate is very, very busted with Ho-Oh right now. I'm not sure why it's so broken. I've had people... I can't count it accurately at all, so... If you're using Ho-Oh, it's probably good for you, or you're taking advantage of this exploit or whatever the heck's going on with the system, if it is one, because that's just what it is. Like, yeah, I've had back-to-back Burbs, or like Earthquake is 65 energy, or yeah, Earthquake is 65 energy. So somehow, like, people are getting like 50, like they're firing 2 Brave Birds off, then 2 more, and then they fire an Earthquake off, and like the math just never adds up. So utilize this at your own risk, or if you're using it, then kudos to you. Yeah, freaking, well, you can blame the cheaters, but at the same time, the system is what it is. You know, if you take advantage of the system, then you can't really blame anyone because Niantic's letting it happen. So, yeah, it's, I know, for all of you that are like, yeah, it's broken right now. I really do empathize with you. A for coverage, A for bulk. Great bulk instant. This team is one of the highest grades, are the highest grade out of this entire squad, I think, or out of the top 5 teams. Insanely powerful, does really well. Zacian and Ho both can break shields, and then Zekrom can close out with Wild Charge because it's an incredibly powerful closer. Or it's one of the best closers with the greatest and lowest threat score on this squad. Now, that Landorus Therian, is it Therian or Therian? Because I'm really tongue twisting right now. Therian form Landorus is probably your biggest threat right now. To Ho, that, or if you get a, if you get a Kyogre, then you have to switch out. You're not using Wild Charge, so you won't have that ability with Zacian, but you'll still be able to break shields because most of the time, your opponent might think you have Wild Charge. You do have Wild Charge with Zekrom, though, and Zekrom has a very strong matchup against Kyogre because it takes forever for Kyogre to get to a Blizzard. So, very powerful against the overall meta. Really good against a ton of combinations. If you see a Dragon lead like Giratina O, you could switch out to Zacian like I mentioned, and then you can line it up with Zekrom. Use Zekrom to break shields. It does have Crunch to counter Giratina Origins, and then Ho-Oh could just blast. Brave Bird and Earthquake are great coverage moves, so this team just like breaks and sweeps your opponent's team if you use it well. Well, it's not very hard to use, and like I mentioned, Incinerate's busted right now. That's why you probably see a lot of Ho-Ohs being run around in the lead. Alright, team number 2 is actually impressive. Insanely impressive. You know, you got the absolute... Lugia is like one of my favorite legendaries. When I saw Pokemon 2000, way back in the day, I saw it in theaters too. Lugia, when I first got introduced to it, I was like, why is this Pokemon so majestic? The flapping birds, the fingered wings, the freaking laser beam that comes out of its mouth, and I was like, oh my god. When it got trapped in those rings of death, and then it was like, it was like arrow blasting its way and just beating the crap out of everything because like waved its head and everything the beam touched literally destroyed everything, and I was like, oh my god. And here was my kid with my popcorn, and I was like, man, Pokemon movies were so freaking great back in the day. For those of you watching all the new anime movies like My Hero Academia, the new Demon Slayer movie, you saw it in theaters and you saw the crowd went wild like it was Marvel. That's how it was back in the day with Pokemon movies. Man, I had a great childhood. Anyways, this does feature Lugia, Excadrill, and Melmetal. I am not sure if this team has a safe switch at all. I think Melmetal is your safe switch because Excadrill isn't really a great one, but I have seen people switching out into Excadrills as their safe switch in Master League Classic. So I'm pretty sure Excadrill is a safe switch, and I think I actually have seen this team run around quite a lot. If you go here, this team does have a rating of... Oh, wait, no, that's the rankings. This team does have a strong rating of 576, so it's the second most powerful team statistically, and it doesn't have Zacian in it. Your back row does really well against Zacian. This is essentially ABB. So you have an ABB team of Lugia Double Steel. And by performance, it actually does incredibly well. A ton of bulk, great coverage, safety, and consistency. Lugia with Dragon Tail and Air Blast and Sky Attack. And then you have Drill Runs, Rock Slide, and of course, Rock Slide Superpower. Standard for Melmetal, doesn't really change at all. Now, the thing about this team is it does have a relatively high threat score, and Giratina O kinda sucks. For you, what I mean. Giratina O is very strong against this team. Lugia with Dragon Tail is really good. You can try to sack it in the lead, but you will essentially lose like a even though Lugia is very bulky, Giratina O is very strong in the 2-shield against Lugia, as well as any other dark types. Lugia also succumbs to Zacian Hero just because of the fact that Dragon Tail is resisted, actually double resisted by fairies. So, Zacian, you know how much you hate Zacian? Well, it has pretty strong matchup against all three. The reason why, even though your back row can do well against Zacian, the issue with Melmetal and Excadrill is that they don't rock steel-type moves like Metagross. That's just the issue with that back row. At the same time, close combat hits you like a truck. It hits you harder than a 6'9", 420 Hurricane coming at you in the face. Didn't I say I would stop doing 6'9", 420? No, it's just gonna keep happening. That reference will always be there. You will get one punch to like One Punch Man, or you will get the 1-2 like Muhammad Ali does every time. Well, no, that's not Muhammad Ali. It's more like Nate Diaz. Anyways, that's what happens with Zacian Hero. Close combat will do heavy damage against your back row, so it's not even that safe. But statistically, this team has done incredibly well. Ironically, Melmetal also ends your life because it's also the superpower, and it does really well against Lugia because it has Rock Slide as well as Thunder Shock. So, for a semi-high threat score, this team was the second most powerful team, and if you're lacking in Zacian, this team has done really well. Actually, it outperformed the other 4 Zacian teams. Like, literally, 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait, the last one doesn't, but as you see, the last 3. So the last 3 teams, 576. It was used by an individual person, so small sample size. So whoever made this team, kudos, since it doesn't feature the stupid dog. Like, well, okay, so you know what? Zacian is a lot like Courage. You know Courage, the Cowardly Dog, because it's like pink. It's not really pinkish in like the, like, you know what I mean? But like, I should nickname, if I have a Hundo Zacian, I'm gonna name it Courage. But yes, Zacian is super meta. This team does well against Zacian if you have shields, because when your shields are down, close combat goes to town, and it's not very healthy for you. But this team is incredibly powerful. If you scroll down, If you lose against the dark types, you save switch into either Excadrill or Melmetal. I'm pretty sure it's Excadrill, break shields, and then hopefully Lugia and Melmetal can close out your opponent. Alright, and the most powerful team is Zarude, Excadrill, and Hero Zacian. Yay. No, seriously, yay. So this team is very weird because, well, Zarude is Zarude basically follows the same concept as Hydreigon. You do well against Giratina O's as well as Kyogres. Zarude also isn't anti-meta. It's literally top 15. This isn't spicy. And it does well against Groudon, Kyogre, Mewtwo, Giratina Alternate Origin. Now, given against Groudon, you might have a little bit of trouble. Well, not really. As you see here, you might have a little bit just because you barely went out this matchup. As you see here, if you have to Power Whip it down, but Fire Punch is going to put you in a sizable point to where you can, essentially what happens is this. You line up against Groudon. This whole scenario plays out, and then whatever comes out, for example, they can send their Zacian to farm you. So it's not super safe in the 2-shield against Groudon because Snarl can farm you down, and now you have a Zacian loaded with loaded energy because Snarl was resisted. If we look up Zacian, you go over here, you hit battle. One Snarl will do 3 damage. So they can just farm you down. So they can do 5 Snarls, farm you down, eat a move, and then they'll have 2 moves queued and just end your life in your back row. So it's not like, yeah, it's not super safe against Groudon. You win, but you're at a cost if they have Zacian in the back, or they can farm you down and get that extra energy. So Zarude's mostly here to target the Mewtwo's, Giratina O's, and Kyogres. You're gonna die against Dragonite, Dialga, Melmetal. Lugia has a lot of fun with you, just because, yes, you get to Dark Pulse, but it also resists Vine Whip, and your Power Whip, it resists Vine Whip, and at the same time, Lugia is super tanky, and guess what? Their Sky Attack is super effective against you, so. Zarude, ironically, okay, so I'm kind of playing Hydreigon, so in my Shellcast, you're gonna see a freaking, I'm gonna kill a Zarude, so this freaking ape isn't, like, this isn't anti-meta, it's literally, like, meta. Yeah, it's meta. Zacian, your safe switch, Excadrill closes out. You break shields, and you pray. You break shields and you pray. That's basically what it is. And like this beam is actually being used by a lot of people. If you look over here, a 0.8 rating. So before you think you're spicy, no, a lot of people broke this team in because all 3 of them are super meta. Excadrill became super meta over Rhyperior just because of its ability. When you got the Mud Shot and Drill Run, when you got the Drill Run buff, it became really strong. So that's what it is. So, team's very powerful. Crappy ratings. The only reason this team is so good is because of the sheer amount of damage it does. This team will charge energy quickly and just beat the unholy hell out of your opponent and do a beat. Like, it's gonna be like SmackDown. Friday Night SmackDown. Well, no, it was like, is it back to Friday nights? Because it was like Tuesday night and now it's like Friday night. You know what I mean? I mean, the face that runs the place, AJ Styles, is now in NXT, but yes. Or you, like Roman Reigns, you know, like, wait, what does he say nowadays? You know, I haven't watched SmackDown in a little bit, so what you would call it? What, I forgot what his catchphrase is. If you know, if you're a wrestling fan like I am, like, put in the comments, let me know, like, what it is. Now, the coolest of this team has, so the threat score is high, but it's really not that high. Because Zarude is very good against a lot of different combinations, with the exception of fire. So if you get a Ho-Oh, you better switch the heck out, because your monkey is going to be lit up like the next forest fire or wildfire in freaking California, which I live in, by the way. So I'm hoping that we get a lot more rain so that we have to, well, actually, no. Like, wildfire season's always there, so it's what it is. This team overall is still very strong. Good combination. Again, if you see a Ho-Oh, it's going to suck for you a lot. But Ho-Oh still does take super effective damage. Again, double super effective against Rock Slide from Excadrill. Also, Zacian Hero. This team does feature the Wild Charge variation, so that's why you're able to cover Ho-Oh. Overall, very strong team, and it basically avoids a lot of different combinations. Yes, it has a high threat score, but you're not going to see a freaking Mew, Genesect, like Heracross, etc. Zarude does lose against fighters. However, fighters are generally discouraged nowadays because of Zacian as well as Giratina Origin. So you won't see too many fire leads nowadays. And of course, you still have Togekiss running around, which is another problem with Zarude. However, the problem with Togekiss is kind of like not there just because you have Excadrill to cover with Rock Slide and of course Wild Charge. So Zarude is really good against a lot of different combos, but it's meta. I hate it when people are saying like this thing's anti-meta. I'm like, dude, it's like top 11. Like, that's not anti-meta. Hydreigon is spicy because if you look over here, I'll give you, I'm actually trying out, but you see freaking rank 70. Rank freaking 70. My boy, or girl if you have the female one. Yeah, it fell off a lot. A lot. But it is still very powerful. More on that later. But hopefully, this team is still really good, so if you're planning on using it, it does really well. You lose the lead against Zarude, against all the weaknesses I mentioned. Charmers, Fighters, Ho-Oh getting lit on fire. You say switch into Zacian, break shields. Zarude and Excadrill can hopefully close out. And that's GG's. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Happy New Year's. Welcome to 2022. And in 2022, we're stuck playing Master League. Why couldn't you just enable like Master League Classic or something else instead of forcing us into Legendary Hell? Well, they probably don't care because, like, you know what? Season 9 is Worlds, but, like, you know, with Rona exploding, I don't think it would be a good idea to hold Worlds. And you have a really crappy tournament system anyways that doesn't really scream esports, which is why literally every Pokemon creator is getting let go by their teams because there's, like, no investment in Pokemon because Pokemon or Nintendo in general / Niantic are just greedy corporate freaking juggernauts that just want your money and will sacrifice the player base or just, you know, just give you enough carrots to where you care or you blindly love Pokemon Go so much that you aren't willing to hear all of its flaws because I scream about it every dang day. But let's just do our best. Maybe it'll get better. I mean, this is gonna be the 3rd year Go Battle League and it still hasn't gotten better, but yeah, take care of yourselves. Anyways, I've been talking a lot, but as you see Master League Classic, like I mentioned, Zacian is just destroy the entire league. It's going to be even worse when the Crown version comes out, so if you're going to spend your money on the Crown version, not this version. So if you thought this was bad, wait until the really, like, super cool version comes out, and then we're all going to die. Yeah, we're all going to die. Or rather, whoever pays enough to get that hundo is going to just dominate the entire league, so we'll see what happens. Anyways, do me a huge favor. Happy New Year's. Please like and subscribe. It's totally free, and you can easily subscribe. You see those strawmans right there? The little box at the bottom right. Push your mouse over it. If you're not subscribed yet, the sub tab will pop up, and you can easily subscribe by the time I'm done talking. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets. Again, happy 2022. Thank you for all the support. Appreciate you guys, and I will see you all. No, wait. Good luck on your Go Battle League sets first, and then I will see you all on the next video.